Welcome to the Leading Visionaries podcast, featuring stellar conversations with emerging and established leading visionaries. Thanks for joining us today as we celebrate and spotlight the leading visionaries who are thinking differently, seeing new possibilities, have the courage to dream big, take inspired action, and create conscious change all around the world. Now, here's your host, Anjel B. Hartwell.
Hello, everyone. It's Anjel here again with another minisode on Leading Visionaries podcast. And today I want to talk about how to navigate when you are in momentum with your vision and there's a slowdown. So, a lot of times when we have a vision, we feel supercharged and we just have our pedals to the metal and we can't wait to go. Vroom, 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 right? I have a little car here, a little race car here. We can't wait to race to the finish line to get our vision into reality. And the truth for every visionary is that there are going to be bursts. There's going to be moments where you're making a huge leap. Often this happens at the very beginning where, you're so charged up and fired up to get your vision into the world and you're, maybe even throwing spaghetti against the wall just to see what is going to stick. And it can be very exciting. It can be very filled with enthusiasm, especially when people start enrolling with you. And then all of a sudden, you may suddenly feel like doors are slamming, windows are closing, relationships are ending, things are changing. And that's when it's time to maybe slow down a little bit or accept that you're being slowed down. Sometimes the universe slows you down. And when we slow down, the game here as a visionary, as a leader, the game here is to be mindful and to be paying attention to and to be aware of what exactly am I being asked to do here? What am I being asked to do here? So in some cases, you may be asked by the universe, by the force that brought you the vision in the first place, to slow down and rest. You might be being asked to retreat a little bit so that you can clear your head and take a moment to reflect on what's working, what's not working. That's one of the things we do here on Think About It Thursday is the whole purpose of these minisodes is to help you to reflect. Sometimes the invitation is to slow your roll a little bit so that you can make a turn, right? You might need to do a little course correction in the manifestation of your vision. And that little turn, that little course correction could then lead you to another big leap moment, another big, pedal to the metal moment, getting your vision moving more rapidly again into manifestation. And so one of the things that you want to do when you're getting that kind of call to slow down is really assess and begin to suss out, like, what am I being asked to do here? What am I being asked to listen to? What am I being asked to contemplate? What am I being asked to consider? What am I being asked to maybe course correct? So I want to just out myself here because I have a habit of making big leaps personally in my life. I would characterize myself as a leaping leader. And a lot of my clients are also, I would characterize them as leaping leaders. And what that looks like is I will get vision and I will then jump right in and end up sometimes in a big leadership role immediately because I'm naturally a leader. And I will be in that leadership role for a period of time. And I'll be like on fire and let's go. And here's what's happening. And it's all going down and it's all happening right now. And then I get the message to slow down, or I get the message to stop, but I am, and this has been my pattern in the past. I'm getting much better now, and I'm helping my clients to get much better now. But in the past, I would have my foot so hard on the gas that I would blow right through that stop sign. I would blow right through that stop sign, and I would end up 3,000 miles down the road, metaphorically, out of gas, and with the sudden realization that at that stop sign, I was being invited to take a left turn. And so if I had taken that left turn then, I would have been much further along in a much easier way in the manifestation of my vision. And where I have found myself instead in the past is here I am 3,000 miles down the road out of fuel, and I need to now refuel myself, go back 3,000 miles to where the stop sign was, and then take the left. So the purpose of today's little minisode here is to really ask you to take a moment and consider, where are you? What are you seeing for signs? What needs to maybe change? Maybe there's a little elegant move, like a little left turn or a little left swerve that you need to take in order to make everything easier, to just make everything easier and swifter in the end than it would have been if you had ignored the stop sign. And the last thing I want to say about this is sometimes you are being asked to slow down and maybe not take a left turn, but just continue the momentum in a slower, kind of more baby step-by-step way. So there's three things that could be happening. Number one, you could be, in a big leap. Number two, you could be being given the guidance to course correct. Number three, you could be given the guidance to conserve your energy, So you're keeping things in momentum, but you're taking baby steps and you're conserving your energy and your resources. And your resources include your health. Your resources include your connections with colleagues. Your resources include your money. And the important thing I want you to consider here is that none of these options is bad, and none of them is better than the other. None of them is better than the other when you are bringing vision into reality. The work is for you to orient to what's going on as the leader and to make specific time and space to be in assessment. You may be constantly assessing, and you may also want to book into your calendar, maybe Friday afternoon at 2:00 is your assessment time, right? Where you say, this is what happened this week. This is kind of the signaling I'm getting from the world. This is the invitation I am receiving from spirit. Maybe it's to slow down. Maybe it's to take a nap. Maybe it's to put naps into your schedule. Maybe it's to spend more time out in nature. Maybe it is to participate in the slower pace of relationship building. The slower pace of relationship building that allows for long-term relationship building. And I want to probably do another episode about relationship building, but briefly state right here that there are times, especially if you have a big vision that is something that others are also really on fire about, the relationship can come together very swiftly, almost like firecrackers. Oh my God, you're doing that? I want to do that with you, and it's just a really swift, the relationship comes together like popcorn popping in a hot pan. And then there are other types of relationships that will actually be in service to the longer term sustainability of the manifestation of your vision that require a slower pace in the forming, in the developing of, in the deepening of those relationships. And again, neither is good or bad, but relationships are really powerful resources that you want to be mindful about when you are pursuing a big, innovative, vision coming into reality. Relationships are super important. And so we want to not burn them. We don't want to burn our relationships, and we want to be mindful in each instance. You don't want to have the brakes on when it's one of those sparky moments. When it's one of those sparky moments, you want to actually be like sparking right there with each other, right? And you want to be participating in that. And you want to be leveraging and capitalizing on the energy and the power and the fire that's happening in that moment. It's kind of like, in the springtime, everything is going. And then there is the summer where things slow down, but they're growing. And then there's the autumn where the harvest comes. And then there's the winter where we have to be fallow. And in that fallow time is where we can mend too. Because sometimes in our haste, we break things. Sometimes we break relationships. Sometimes we break our health. Sometimes we break our bank balance in the pursuit of vision. And so we want to have fallow time too, which is the mending time. It's the time where we resort to rest and recovery and reconnecting and reweaving in those places that might have been ruptured and reflecting. And so that is my message for you today, that none of these things are good or bad. The work is really about being awake and being conscious and being aware of what's actually happening in your own manifestation of your vision journey, what's actually happening, and to make those adjustments that are required to align with what's happening rather than fight against it, to surrender to what's happening and to meet what's happening with finesse, to meet what's happening with ease, with grace, with wisdom. And oftentimes you need help with that. And that's how I help Leading Visionaries. I am hired to consult with them, to serve and support them to understand how the energy is flowing and to make the best and highest and most efficient use of each moment. And so if that's something of interest, please reach out and apply for a conversation with me. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again for tuning in to Leading Visionaries podcast, and have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thanks for tuning in, downloading, and listening. Be sure to rate and review Leading Visionaries on Apple Podcasts and share with other people you know who can benefit from today's episode. Leading Visionaries is the premier podcast series for informing, activating, and inspiring the leading visionaries who are called to create conscious change and know that now is the best time to welcome wealth and cultivate a web of collaborative support to bring their vision to life. We invite your feedback and guest suggestions and invite you to subscribe to our mailing list to be notified of new episodes at leadingvisionariespodcast.com.